Boker Tov, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin our davening. Page 103 in the Lev Shalem in front of you. The small red Siddur, small the two books in front of you. Please rise for Birkot HaShachar, morning blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech v'bina levchim ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam shasani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam shasani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam pokech ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam mabi sharubim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kifufim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam raka aretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam hamechim mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam shasal li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam azer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam te'yosef b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanotein le'ayef koach. Udneinu ayom v'choyom l'chen l'chesed rachamim menecha v'nechol reinu v'tiglenu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. May be seated le'olam yehei adam yirei shamayim b'seder v'galul. Ki chol maseinu tohu v'mecheinu hevel lefanecha motar hadamin habehema ayin ki akol havel aval anachnu chabnei britecha v'rei Avraham v'Havkar. Ashreinu matov chalkeinu ma'nan gorleinu ma'yafai yerushatenu. Ashreinu shenachnu mashkim marivim erev v'voker v'yomarim pamayim b'chol yom Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Kaddish et shimcha makdishei shemecha v'kaddish et shimcha b'yolamecha v'yishwarcha tarim v'tagbiach karneinu baruch atah Adonai v'kaddish et shimcha barabim. Rabbi Yishmael. Kol davar shebechol v'yatel eton davar lemeid minyano v'davar lemeid misofo v'chein shnei ch'tvim machshim zed zed shebo ha'ketuva sheshivechri benehen Yehi ratzon b'fnecha Adonai Eloheinu v'avatenu shetitin chalkinu b'toratecha B'nei tamidav shel Aaron HaKohen ohev shalom v'rodev shalom ohev et habriot u'mekarvan laTorah. Kaddish de Rabbanan, page 111. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba v'yalma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabba m'vorach le'olam me'el maya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha v'rifu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Al Yisrael v'al Rabbanan v'al Tamidehon v'al kol Tamidehon v'al kol man da'askin v'oraita Divi atra hadain b'di b'chol atar v'atar Yehei lahon ulchon shlama rabba china v'chista v'rachamin v'chayin arichin muzona rabicha u'forkana min kodam avahon di v'shmaya v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'olav u'barachamav yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Amen. Page 112 in the Lev Shalem, or 72 in the Slim Shalom, 32 in the Sim Shalom. Mizmor Hayovim Shabbat Kodesh Shaboy Walivim Remein Hamidah. Magadu Masachat Ramod Namkumat Kotarich. Shetilum Beitan Avachat. Odinavun b'seva d'shenim ranim yu lagi kasharunai tzuri v'lo avla tabo 120 or 81 or 50. Mizmor shir chanok hadabai l'dav yom l'chag yilu tamo v'sivat to'or b'li anay v'ashmat l'chet tirpei. Anay b'tzocham manapel l'harizah. Eileh Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal, V'yitgadash, Shemei Rabbi, V'yalmad, Yivrach, Yirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agala, V'zman, Kari, V'yimru. Amen.
Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbi, V'barach, V'yalam, V'omei Omayah.
Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnasei, Tadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudusha B'richu Leila Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Damiran Be'alma V'Imru Amen Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen Oseh Shalom Olav U'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. We rise Baruch Shamar 122, 83 or 54. Baruch Shamar V'Ya'olam, Baruch Hu. Yachid Chei Olamim Melech Meshubach Umfordet Shemo Agado Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mehulal Batishbachot. May be seated at Adonai Kiru Bishmo Diva Mimalotav Shilo Zamalo Sivachon Zer Yisrael Avdo B'nei Yaakov B'Fiva. Ki gadol Adonai molal meod v'norahu hakol Elohim ki kol Elohim melilim v'Adonai shemayim asah v'adal lefanav leched v'bimkom v'najmon Adonai ki tov yom chesed Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'adom raglav kadoshu Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'har kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu v'rachum yichaper bon v'lo yishiver b'ala shiva bon Adonai Tzvori Manu Iskavlanu Elo Yaakov Sel Adonai Tzvori Shua Dabotech Bach Adonai Oshia Hamelach Yanenu V'yom Korenu Oshia Tamecha Vrecha Nachal Techal Nasem Ad Haolam V'shenech Kumaz Rata Lanov Din Laman Chastecha Ashriyam Shekach Alo Ashriyam Shadonai Eloha V'ni V'chasecha V'tachti Ageli V'Yishuatecha Ashira Ladonai Ki Gamal Alai Lama Natseach Lizmor Ledadi Dashalem Sabrin Kibbutz Masei Damagir Yom liyom yabia omer v'layla la yechabedad. Hu kechatan yotze mechupato yasis kippah Torah. Yile ratzon imrei fi v'yegon libi lefanech Adonai tzuri v'go ali l'dabi b'shanatot ta'imol livnei v'melach v'gershei v'yalav v'varach Adonai v'cholei tamid tilato v'fi Adonai tilato v'shin Yishmu anavim yishmachu tam b'mayiti Mia Isha Chafayet. Tzaku Bad Rasha Miracle. Shomer Concert. Timotei Rashara Abesone Tzadik Yeshamu Poderanai Never Shabadav. Below Yashmu Kalachosim Bo Tivila La Moshe Ish Elohim Adonai. Let me know what you made. Okay, hold on. Bihino Amar Eloheinu Aleinu Masei Korna Aleinu Masei Yadeinu Konanehu Yoshi B'Seiter Yom B'Tzel Shaddai Yilonan Omar Lana Machsim Uzuratil Oyavtakbo Kihu Atzilacha Mipach Yakush Mitever Hagod Kibalach Avitzava Lagos Marwa Ikreni B'Yanei Oimoinochi B'Tzarach Atzev Yachavdei Orachim Imas B'Yehu B'Eri B'Shuati Orachem Imas B'Yehu B'Arei B'Shuati Hallelujah Lo Hashem Anai Lo Avdei Adonai Hashem Li B'Veit Adonai B'Chatu V'Delohim Kol Asher Chavetz Adonai Beit Yisrael Baruch Hu Adonai, Beit Aharon Baruch Hu Adonai, Beit HaLevi Baruch Hu Adonai, Yirei Adonai Baruch Hu Adonai, Baruch Adonai Mitzion, Shochem Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Please rise 132, 92, or 72. Hodu Ladonai, Ki Tov, Ki Leolam. Shebishifleinu Zachar lanu Ki leolam Chasto Vayifrekeinu Mitzareinu Ki leolam Chasto Sharonava Tahila Abdullah Findor, Benevola Sorda Shakir Asif Lichuan Roch. Navshenu Chita Laranai Zenimaginu, Ki voice Machli Benu, Ki Bishem Kocho, Betachni Chastachad Nailenu, Kasher Yuchanulach. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Ishbar lo yazavsi. Ojinavun b'seva d'shenim rananim miyu like yidke ashar Adonai tzuriv lo avla tabo Adonai malaki lavesh lavesh lai osi zadi godim nasu narot kolam yisod narot Eidotecha nemnu meyod leheveitcha navakodesh Adonai leoref yamin Adonai leoref yamin Chod Adonai lo nismach Adonai maso shalom Rabot machshavot Urachum yechaper bon v'lo yashkid v'bala shiva polir kol chamato Adonai Oshia Hamelach yanenu v'yom koreinu Ashrei v'techa juluch Hashem shabbat v'lo Hashem shanai lo avtila levid. We're on page 136 in the Lev Shalom, 96 Slim Shalom, or 81 the Sim Shalom if you're following from a different Siddur at home. Tilat Adonai daber pi v'reko basar shem kodsho le'olam v'nachton barach yam yatav olam hallelujah hallelujah l'nafshi l'Adonai ahalal b'chayim. Osem mishpat la'shukim notin lechem l'rivim anay ma'atezah. Adonai shomer et gerim yatom yamanayo dev v'derech v'sha'im yaveh yitimoch Adonai l'olam Elohai Ktiyam Adonai Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Ki tov zamra Eloheinu ki na'inavata hilabonei Yerushalayim anay nechayesu v'chanais. Harafel shavrei le'mechabesh la'asot ha'mitzvah. Noten levei malachma al levnei oreva she'igra'u lo v'vat l'shem. Magid Rav Yaakov, Chukav Mashpatav Israel, Lo Asachem Lechol Goy Mishpatim, Baidaum, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Lo Tanai Min Hashemayim, Halu Bar Mamin, Hamakom Lechol. Hal Tanai Min Hashemayim, Tanai Lechol Damo. Vayarem Karen Lihamoti Lalechol Chasidav, Lefnei Shalom Karobo, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Shiru, Ladonai Shir Chadash. Tila tova kal chasidim yismach Hashem b'yosam b'nei Tzion yagilu v'makam yalushu malacho v'tof l'chir. Leisor malcheihem b'zikim v'nichbadeihem b'chavlei barzel lasot b'mishpat katuv hadar l'chol chasidav Hallelujah, Hallelujah lo b'kacho lo b'kriya uzo lo b'kvatav halukol. Hallelujah b'tziltzilei shama Hallelujah b'tziltzilei teruah kol neshamat Hallelujah Kol ha-neshamat, hallelujah, hallelujah, baruch Adonai le'olam amen, amen, baruch Adonai b'tzion sh'goyin. Baruch shem kvodo le'olam, b'molech kvodo kol ha'aretz, amen, v'amen. Please rise, top of 142. Vayivarech David Adonai le'kol kami, David baruch Adonai. V'yosher v'yakavod milfanecha v'etem ushalko. Atahu Adonai Elohim asher bacharta b'Avram v'Yosef u'mirakasim v'stanta shmo Avraham u'matata levavo leman lefanecha v'charoti mo Rabbi l'teit zeder zakenani achi tehemri haprisi abusi yigash l'teit zak v'hayam akata levneihem v'yavru b'toch hayam v'yabasha v'yavot v'hem yishlachta b'msolot kemo even b'mayim azim v'yosh Adonai b'yom ahu et yishom yamitzvah v'yarisham et aspat hayam Vayar Yisrael Tayad Gedol Asher Sarnai b'Mitzrayim Vayir Uhamed Adonai Vayaminu Badonai Moshe Abdu Az Yashir Moshe Ubnei Yisrael Tashir Azol Adonai Shonaki Ogasus Barachbo Ramav Yamuziv Zimracha Vayalishod. Az nefalu ala fayadom elim ma yakozem ra'ad na moge koish v'chana antipode Adonai im lo Moshe Bagoyim, Balumashim Biart Silash Badid Har Esa, Baitalai Mokhabayadon Alama Gola Bayomahu Yadonai Echad Ushemo Echad. We are seated 145 in the Lev Shalem, 104, 334, and other Sidurim you might be following from at home. Nishmat Kol Chai Tevarech Rosh Mi ad melach umi yishvelach umi aroch lach Hayala gadol hagibor b'yanora el hayon koneh shamayim va'aretz Nahalel chana shabechacha unafa'er chana brech Hashem kodshecha kamor leDavid bar chinafshit Adonai Bechol kravai Hashem kodsho ha'el b'tatzumot uzecha Hagadol b'chvod shemecha Hagibor lanetzav b'yanora b'norotecha HaMelech HaYoshev Al Kisei Ram Benisa. We can continue with Shachrit, second paragraph, 147 or 105 or 336.
Shochinat Marab V'Kadosh Shemo
Shochinat Marab
V'Vishim Titalah Direi Tzadikim Tibarah U'Rishon Chasidim Titramam U'Kerev Kedoshim Titkadash U'Makalah Tiravat Amechad B'Tisrael Shekin Chovat Kol Yitzraim V'Chanecha Adonai Elohim V'Avotainu Le'odat V'Halal V'Shabeach L'Farel L'Rumen L'Hodeh L'Varel L'Valei U'Kalei Samchat Divrei Shero V'Tish V'Chat David Ben Yishai Avdecha Mishichecha Yishach Shimcha L'Hait Malkeinu
Abocher Shirei Zimamel
Mirachot Ve'Chotavot Meitav Yerolam Baruchat Adonai El Melech Gadol V'Tishbachot El Hodot Adonai Niflat Abocher V'Shirei Zimra Melech El Olamim Yikatav Yikatash Shemei Rabbi Yamad Yivrach Yutevim Lichmoch V'Tech Ha'echad V'Echad V'Chei Decho Beit Yisrael V'Galav Yizman Karim Imru Ameim Yishmi Rabbi Yisbarach Yishabach Vach Vitbar Vitrom Vitnase Vitadar Vitalevi Vitalam Shemiri Kaddish Min Kober Chatav Shirata Jush Chatav Nechamata Damiram Yama Imru Amen.
We're about to say the Baruch Hu on 149, after which may be seated through the brachot of the Shema until we rise for the quiet Amidah on page 159.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaKol B'tucha v'kol yishabechucha. Yechol Yisrael v'kadosh HaMevorach. In Kirkech Adonai, Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh zulatecha malkeinu lechayom ha'hava v'tzviltecha golenu limot HaMashiach v'indom lecha Mashiachenu l'tchiyat hametim El Adonai l'kol ha'masim Baruch hu borach b'fika v'shalach v'lo v'tuvo malei olam ta'atutu na'so v'imoto Hamidkare Achayot HaKodesh V'neitar Rechavot Al Merkava Zechut Umishor Lifnei Chisov Chesed V'rachamim Lifnei Chvodo Tovim Ve'arosh Shebara Eloheinu Yitzhara B'dat V'vinu Askel Koach U'Murad L'Tamahem Liot Moshli V'ker Sasim Neboam, Osim Be'ei Maritzon Konam, Dir Bechavot Notanim Lishmo, Zom Laverim Alizefer Maluto, Rav Hashaneh Shema Yizrach, Rav Eikim Surat Levana, Sheva Notanim Bo, Kol Zevan Maro, Seraphim Ve'ofanim V'chayot HaKodesh Leil HaSheshavat Mikol Ha'masim V'yom HaShvit Tibarak Moshino Shavak Maseh Yodeh Chavim Le'uhrior Shasita Yivarhu Chasela Tibarak Son Makir Rogoyin Borei Kedoshim Kulam Ahuvim, Kulam Perurim, Kulam Yorim, Kulam Osim Be'mal Yirah, Tzon, Kunam, Kulam Potachim Epihem, Viktusham Torah, V'shirah V'sumram Arachim Shabbatim, Umparim, Umaritzim, Umatishim, Umamlichim, Et Shem Ha'el Amelech Hadato, Hagibor B'Hanorah, Kaitoshu, V'chulam, Mikablim Alehem, On Malchut Shamayim Zeh Mizeh, V'notenim Reshut Zelazeh L'tish Le'yotzeram, V'nachat Ruham, V'safa V'rurai V'nima Kedosha, Kulam Kechadonim V'homerim V'yira, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech Kol Haaretz Kiloto, V'fanim V'chayot HaKodesh, Rash Kadomim V'aseim V'umatzrafim, V'umatam V'shalichim V'homerim, Baruch Adonai Mikomo, V'baruch Nimotitei. Or Chadashat Zayadai, V'nizkechun L'Mira, V'oro Baruch Adonai, Yotzer Me'oro. Amen. Above time, V'kerab tanu l'shimcha gadol zedel v'meit leudot v'yachat v'yah Baruch atah Adonai Abocher v'yamo Yisrael Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Adonai Elohim et liatzi v'nachon v'kayam v'yashar v'neman v'ahu v'chaviv v'nachman v'naim v'nora v'yadir umtukad umkuba v'tov v'yafeh hadavar hazeh alaynu le'olam v'eh Vedor Pator Kayam Shma Kayam Chison Akon Makuto Bemunato Laad Kayamet Rakim Kamin and Divnak Madim Laad Ulame Hola Image Shota Wuday Velohe Hotino Malkina Melakapotenu Golino Gohela Hotenu Yutarino Sori Shotenu Putting Matilino Elam Shemecha Ein Elohim Zulatecha Ezrat Avotenu Atamei Ulam Megin Washim Teilot le'elayom baruch u'mevorach Moshe b'nei Yisrael lecha
anu shira b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulami chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot osefel shira chadash shikugelim le'shicha al sabat hayam yachad kulam oduveim lichu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai 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 Tzur Yisrael Kuma ve'ezran Yisrael Uvtechenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Adonai If you're still davening, please continue at your own pace. We continue with the repetition of the Amidah 159 in the Lev Shalem, which is the Siddur you have in front of you, 115 or 354 in the Siddurim that you might be using if you're following from home.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Hayel Gadol Gibor Anorah, El Elyon Goel Chasadim, Tovim Mekonei Hakol, Zocher Chasdei Havot, Mevi Goel Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Ufokeinu Moshiach Umakim Baruch atah Adonai Magin Avraham Ufokei Tzara Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechei Mitzim Atara Le'Hoshiha Mechalkel Chaim V'Chesed V'Chayei Metim V'Rachamim Rabim Tzomech Nolim V'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Baruch atah Adonai Elohei Hametim Amen. Nigel Joel Shem Madishim Adobishmei Marom Kadavayad Nikadesh Tshuva Ba'olam Kishem Shemot Shemot Lishmei Marom Karkatul Yad V'Yecha V'Karaseh Zeh V'Yamar Kadosh 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 Adonai Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzevot Lo Kol Haaretz Kivoto Eyes V'Kol
הדבר המשאיר לידי משיח תתקחו
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב ימינו לעולם ותשכון תתקטל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך בדור ודור נצח נצחים
ימלוך הלילה וישיר לדור ודור, הללויה.
אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. ינאי נאי 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 ינאי נאי נאי ינאי ינאי
Amen. You may be seated.
ישמח משה במתנת חלקו, יבנה למען קראת לו, Kiliti Fergurosh on a Tata, beyond to the Fanek al Har Sinai, which need the heart of any Mori, be a dog, the Katubayim Shvirat Shabbat, the Thinkatu Pitor Techa, Bisham Rubinis or the Shabbat, last of the Shabbat, the Torah Tamiri, Tolam, the New Bibinis for the Olam, he shakes me Masa, tonight to show my Vitarit, who my home, Ashvi. Shabbat v'ayina fash v'lam tator and Elohim. The Gayera to the Lord Patomakin of the Fizili we got Makata, Lushkinu Arelim. He the Israel Lachanit Tator Yahava, the Zera Yaakov Asher Bambakartam, the Kaddishi Shili, Kula Misfihu, Pitan Kuli Zuveha, the Ashvi. Ratzita bo v'kita shor Chemdat yamim oto karata Zecher lemasi v'reshis Eloheinu Elohei avotinu Ritzei Inu chatenu Kadeshinu b'mitzvotecha V'timchakenu b'toratecha Salinu mitulecha, v'samchenu b'yeshuatecha, v'taher libeinu le'yovdecha v'emet v'chileinu Adonai Eloheinu b'yahava ratzon Shabbat kodshecha v'yenuchu v'Yisrael v'kadeshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Shabbat, Ritzei, Adonai Eloheinu Baruch Yisrael v'tfilatam, Yeshevet Havada Livir v'techa, v'tfilatam be'hava, t'nava, v'ratzon, v'tiratzon, tamid avadat, Yisrael mecha, v'techazein ha'yir v'shuvecha l'zion v'rachamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'machazir shechinata le'etzion, Otim v'nachum lach, shatach Adonai Eloheinu v'levatim. Atokin lach, alurach, alach, avermachem, hilotam, uchasadech, amilam, givinu lach, v'yochum lam, yiparach, v'yitramam, shimcha, v'okinu shamit, v'ulam, ba'ed, v'chorachim, yuducha, salvinu, lu'achimcha, be'emet, ha'eli, shoteinu, v'sratinu, sela, baruch, atah, Adonai, atah, shemcha, uchanai, le'odot, Eloheinu, Elohei avoteinu, Barecheinu baracham shuleshet, Batorah ketubah yidei Moshe Avdecha, Amorah mipi Aaron v'Marav, Ohani b'am kedushecha kamor, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha,
Ken yiratzon,
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, Yesev lecha shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen b'chesed berachamim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael amecha. Barecheinu avinu, kulanu ke'echad, v'yor panecha ki v'yor panecha natacha lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torah chaim ve'avat chesed u'tzedaka u'veracha ve'rachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom ve'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael ve'chol eitu v'chosha b'shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai, Amarech Amo Yisrael v'shalom.
Amen. Kaddish Shalem.
Yitzchak v'kadash me'rava.
Amen.
Matirak yirtevim liich malchut v'chayachon v'mechon chayducha v'yis Yisrael v'galav v'zman karivim meru.
Amen. Yeshmei Rabba mevorach le'olam le'olam le'omaya yitbarach.
Shabbat. Shalach, Bipar Rishon Mami Kasek, Yitadar Yisrael Yisrael Shmei Kutshav
Richu.
Bin Kol Berchatav Shivrat, Tatish Berchatav Nekmata, Tamir Ambil Mali Meru.
Amen.
Tikavot Salata Hunu Jantako Yisrael, Kadamon Vishmai Meru.
Amen.
Yishlamach Rabba, Vishamaya Vechayim Aleinu El Kol Yisrael Meru.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom, Bimromah, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu El Kol Yisrael Meru.
Amen. Elias, you have to lead in some Torah service. We turn to page 168 in the Lev Shalem in front of you, 139 or 394 in other Sidurim. Please rise as we prepare to take the Sefer Torah out of the ark.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha.
Malchutecha, malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai himno le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitei, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, av harachamim, eitiv avirtzoncha et Zion, tibnei chomot Yerushalayim, tibnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki v'cha levad batachnu, melech el ram benisa, Adon olamim. We open the doors to the ark.
Vayehi binso Aaron, vayomer Moshe.
Kuma Adonai, v'yafutzu oivecha, v'yanusu misanecha, mipanecha, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, u'devar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'hidushat, Baruch shemei demare yamer b'kitrafi atrach yeruata. Anna Abdul Kudish Baruch Hu.
Anarachet,
Velish me Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emar Tushbechan, Be Anarachet, Be Anarachet, Velish me Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emar Tushbechan, Yehi Rabba Kodamach, Detiftach Libi Beoraita, Betashli Mishalim Belibi, Beliba Decholamach Israel, Letavu Chayim Belishlah. Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gavlu Adonai iti, uneromem Hashem oyachda.
Lecha Adonai Hagenu, Lam Hagenu, Ram Tiferet, Ve'anetzach ve'amod, Kimo b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Kimo b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Adonai ha'mamlacha, Yamid na'aseh lecho lerosh romemu, romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachavu lehadom raglav kadoshu, romemu, romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Again, welcome. Cover the Torah a second. Okay. In a moment, we're going to begin reading Parshat Bamidbar. We have one and only one Torah reader this morning, and his name is Elias Binder. You can find it on page 769 in the red Chumash in front of you. If you're following from home from a different Chumash, open up to the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 1. A reminder that this is a cell phone-free space in the sanctuary on Shabbat, so please make sure that all of your devices are turned off throughout the rest of your time here at Temple Beth Am on Shabbat to help us preserve the sanctity of the day. Page 769. V'yazor v'yagim mishel l'chol chosim bo v'namar amen. Hakol havu goleinu chavod la'Torah. Yahamdu Ruth bat Yecheskel v'Sara v'yad Baruch ben Hershel Yavushana. Baruch Shanatan Torah Limoshe B'Dushato V'atem Madbeikim L'Avechem Chaim Uchem Hayom. Good now? Yeah. I'll have show the spot. Should be easy to find. Okay.
Baruch. Baruch et Adonai Baruch. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Bo'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe Bamidbar Sinai be'ohel moed be'echad lachodesh hasheni b'shana hashenit letzetam me'eretz Mitzrayim lemor she'u et rosh kol hadat b'nei Yisrael le'mishpachot tam leveit avotam במספר שמות כל זכר לגולותם מבין עשרים שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא בישראל תפקדו אותם לצבאותם אתה ואהרון איתכם יהיו איש למטה איש ראש לבית אבותיו
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר בחרנו אמת בחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yamdu Devorah bat Shoshana b'Chaim bet Shoshana bat Eliezer b'Pnina Eliashni. Page 770, verse 5. 1 sec. Before you say the blessing, touch the spot.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. ואלה שמות האנשים אשר יעמדו איתכם לראובן אליצור בן שדאור לשמעון שלימיאל בן צור שדי ליהודה נחשון בן עמינדב ליששכר נתניאל בן צוער לזבולון אליאב בן חלון לבני יוסף לאפרים אליסמע בן עמיהוד למנשה גמליאל בן פדצור לבנימין אבידן בן גדני לדן אחיעזר בן עמינשדי לאשר פגיאל בן אחרן לגד אליסף בן דאואל לנפתלי אחירי בן עינן אלה קרי הדאינציי מטות אבותם ראשי אלפי ישראל.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו את תורת אמת בחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Menashe Eden ben Daniel Yael Elias Lishit.
Page 771, verse 17.
I'll show you the spot. Take your seats.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Hanam Barach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן. ויקח משה ואהרון את האנשים האלה אשר נקבעו בשמות ואת כל הדת הקהילו באחד לחודש השני וילדו על משפחותם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה לגלותם כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה ויפקדם במדבר סיני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ya Amod. Aaron ben David.
כן, נכון.
Elia Revi'it.
Page 771, verse 20.
Baruch hu et Adonai Amarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayuhu b'nei Reuven bechol Yisrael. Todatam le'mishpachotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot legugelotam. Kol zachar miben esrihim shana v'mala kol yotzei tzava pekudehem l'matei Reuven shisha v'arba'im elef v'chamesh me'ot libnei Shimon todatam le'mishpachotam leveit avotam pivkei dav במספר שמות לגוגלתם כל זכר מבין עשרים שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה שמעון 9,300 לבני גד תודתם למשפחותם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה גד 45,650 לבני יהודה תודתם למשפחותם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה יהודה 74,600
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ya'amdu Tamod Nas Sanaya bat Yohana v'Yeshua v'Rachel bat Mud v'Baruch Aliyah Chamishit. We're going to cover the Torah for the moment and say a Mishaber for those who are ill amongst our community of friends and family. If there's a name you would like inserted in the bracha when I pause, please say, rise in your place and say the name out loud after I read the list from the congregation. Mishaberach Avatenu Aram Yitzchak v'Yakov v'Imotenu Sarivka Rachel v'Leah v'Yivarech v'Yirapeh kol hacholim v'kol hacholot v'kilakto shahazot et Zahava Yafa bat Esther v'Rivka bat Pesha v'Yosef v'Nachum ben Gittel v'Yitzril Chana bat Sivya v'Yehuda Yisrael ben Leah v'Et Mordechai ben Esther v'Et Dani ben Yamim v'Tov ben Arid v'Tabel bat Rachel Leah v'Yeshua ben Shendel v'Et Meir ben Miriam v'Elka Shifra bat Malka v'Esther bat Liba v'David ben Malka v'Eliora bat Abigail v'Amin Yechezkel ben Anad v'Tzil bat Sarah v'Teba Razel bat Chaya v'Shavana Tova bat Chana v'Michael ben Yehudit v'Et Masha bat Rachel v'Alexander Rachel bat Shoshana v'Et Moshe ben Shmuel v'Et Moshe Baruch Shmaya ben Shena Rachel v'Et Yafa bat Shendel v'Et Pamela bat Yehudit v'Et Rivka bat Rachama v'Et Hachazana Viva bat Chana u'Shlomo v'Et Harav Dvorah Masha bat Eta Rezel v'Et Esther bat Chana v'Et Yael Sipora bat Yehudit Dina v'Et Mason Volkman v'Et Sarah bat Masha Rachel v'Yosef v'Et Odila Henya bat Yitzchak Mendel bat Alta Freudel v'Et Chana Pesha Bracha bat Pesha v'Et Yosef ben Siriel v'Et Eliezer Yochanan ben Yoel Basar v'Et Michel Lesser v'Et Tinoket v'Et Arieleh v'Avram Levi v'Et Arieleh bat Brendel Shia v'Chaim Tzvi v'Et Ephraim ben Sarah v'Et וכל החולים, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם להפסיקם לרפאותם, ישלח להם מרפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ותגוף ותאושר החולים, וחזק ידידיהם את צורכיהם, שבתים לזוג גבוהה קרובה לבוא, השתבח בזמן קריב, ונאמר Amen. We wish a refuah shlema, full and speedy recovery to everyone whose names we listed and whom we were thinking of and praying for during that blessing. Joey, a fifth Elias.
Page 772, verse 28.
Baruch hu et Adonai
Adonai Hamparah. Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Libnei Yisachar Todatam Lemishpechotam Leveit Avotam Bemispar Shemot Miben Esri Yihim Shana V'mala Kol Yotzei Tzava Pekudehem Lematei Yisachar Arba'a v'chamishim elef v'arba me'ot libnei Zevulun Todatam lemishpechotam leveit avotam במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה זבולון 57,400 לבני יוסף לבני אפרים תולדתם למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה אפרים 40,500 לבני מנשה תולדתם למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה מנשה 32,200
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochen. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yamdu Zev ben Rachmael v'Rivka v'Yeshra. Zev ben Rachmael v'Rivka bat Mordechai v'Sara Elias Shishit.
Wait, I have to.
Page 772, verse 36.
Good.
Kind of, but I'm fine.
We'll move it over a little. We're Binyamin, right?
We're at Libnei Binyamin.
Yeah. So show them this one.
Okay.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamparah.
Baruch
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'na'as lanu et Torah. So Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. לבני בנימין תולדתם למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה בנימין 35,400 לבני דן תולדתם למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה דן 62,700 לבני אשר תולדתם למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה אשר 41,500 בני נפתלי תולדתם למשפחתם לבית אבותם במספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה כל יוצאי צבא פקודיהם למטה נפתלי 53,400
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochen. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yamdu Horea bar Mitzvah Yoshua ben Ruth Baruch Yed Yohana bat Shoshana v'Chaim Elias Shvi'it.
Page 773, verse 44.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ele hapekudim asher pakad Moshe v'Haron v'Yitzieh Yisrael Shnai Masar ish echad leved avotav hayu kol hapekudei bnei Yisrael leved avotav miben esrim shana v'mala kol yotzei tzava v'Yisrael v'yu kol hapekudim shesh me'od elef v'shloshet alafim וחמש מאות וחמישים והרביעים למטה אבותם לא עוד פקודו בתוכם וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור אך את מטה ליבי לא תבכה ואת ראשה לא תישא בתוך בני ישראל ואתה הפקד את הלוויים על משכן העדות ועל כל כליו ועל כל אשר לו המה יעשו את המשכן ואת כל כליו והם ישרתוהו מסביב למשכן יחנוהו ובנסוע המשכן יורידו אותו הלוויים ובחנות המשכן יקימו אותו הלוויים והזהר הקרב יומת בחנו בני ישראל איש על מחנהו ואיש על דגלו לצבאותם והלוויים יחנוהו סביב למשכן העדות ולא יהיה קצף על הדעת בני ישראל ושמרו הלוויים את משמרת משכן העדות ויעשו בני ישראל ככל אשר ציווה אדוני את משה כן עשו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Elias ben Yoshua Yohana Eliam Haftir. Please rise as Elias leads us in a Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויגדש שמי רבה ועמד דברה קרתה ועמליך מלכותה
בחיי חונביו ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ועלמיה
וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה
בריחו
לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירה מעלמה
ויאמרו אמן.
You may be seated, everyone. No, because you're going to get it. Before Elias takes this Maftir Aliyah, he's read the whole parsha already. We're going to read the last few verses again. He's going to get 2 blessings from his parents. One, the blessing that Jewish parents have been giving to their children for thousands of years to nudge them lovingly towards Jewish adulthood and maturity. And then an exquisite blessing that they have written for him for this special occasion.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shiftareni me'ansho shel hazeh.
Amen.
Papito, from birth, always smiling and always moving, you have been the sunshine in our family. Your goodness, laughter, enthusiasm, and a lover of having friends and family around you.
Be curious. Be an explorer. Life is more interesting when learning, even when you're older and wiser. Your passion, charm, and empathy ensure that anyone who meets you loves you.
Your emotions are powerful and deep. You're a champion for others and a leader to many. May God grant you gratitude, even simply for just waking up.
May you always feel loved and supported by your family and friends. Show up when needed. Good things happen to those who show up.
May you never forget your roots, your Ashkenazi and Sephardic heritage, and those who died so you can stand here today.
May you continue. Sorry. Starting to cry.
Always be a proud and outspoken Jew.
You got it? May you continue to love Israel, visit often, and support her existence.
May you fight for equality and justice for all, civil rights, immigrants, those less fortunate, and may you never know hate in your heart.
May you always be positive, especially when most difficult. Happiness is a choice, and your gratitude determines the outcome. When you fall, get back up.
May you dream big, pushing beyond what is comfortable. Be your best advocate. Recognize your own worth and make your happiness depend on you, not on others.
May you participate in charity by act and by giving.
May you use your mind, privilege, and knowledge for goodness in this world. Take chances, even when it's very scary.
May you keep up your love for all things sports, and with God's help, UCLA might eventually win a national championship in basketball or football.
May you always have Shabbat dinners, always opening your doors to others with warmth, generosity, and lots of celebrations.
May you keep your mom's zest for life and impulsive joy, tempering it with your dad's patience, thoughtfulness, and a thorough analysis.
May you travel far and wide, appreciating music, literature, art, culture, food, and mostly important, adventure.
May you always remember to be loyal to yourself and others. You and your siblings must always remain a united team.
Be humble and always fight the urge to compare your lot in life to others.
And finally, as your grandfather always says, use good judgment. We love you and couldn't be more proud of you today.
Amen, amen, amen.
We're going to go to the Maftir Aliyah, which can be found on what page, Joey?
774, verse 52.
You guys can stand. begins with the Chanu. Okay, take a tzitzit. Leave the yad there a second. You're good. Take a tzitzit. Take one. Okay. Take one. Close it. And say, remember to lift it under Torah, right?
Do I have to close it fully?
Oh yeah, you don't lift it.
Baruch Adonai HaBorach.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'chanuhu B'nei Israel Ish HaMachanehu Ve'ish Al Diglo Letivotam Ve'avim Yachanuhu Saviv LaMishkan Haidut Ve'lo Yeh Ketzef Al Adat B'nei Israel Ve'shamru Haviim Et Mishmeret Mishkan Haidut Vayasu B'nei Israel Kechol Asher Tzivah Adonai Et Moshe Kenasu Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Temet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yamdu Amagbiya B'Hagolelet. Please rise. We'll cover the Torah second.
מי שבירך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, מי שבירך אמותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את אליאס בן יהושע ויוחנן, שהגיע למצוות ולכבוד המקום ולכבוד התורה ולכבוד השבת. יהי רצון, 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 יהי רצון. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמרהו ויחייהו, ויכונן את ליבו להיות שלם עם אדוני אלוהיו, להגות בתורתו ללכת בדרכיו, ולשמור מצוותיו, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיו. יהי רצון שיזכו הוריו לגדלו לתורה ולחופה ולמעשים טובים, ימצא חן ושכל טוב בין אלוהים ואדם, ונאמר Amen. Please remain standing for the lifting and wrapping of the Torah scroll.
Ready? may be seated. Yeah. What's going to happen next is that Elias is going to share a Dvar Torah with us, his thoughts and insights into Parshat Bamidbar and to what becoming a Bar Mitzvah means. I'm going to ask that everyone really remain seated and silent throughout his entire drash so that he can have your full attention. And we go right from the drash into his chanting the Haftarah for Parshat Bamidbar.
For Machar Chodesh.
For Machar Chodesh, exactly right. Sorry about that.
16.
I'll announce the pages when we get there. In lieu of applause after his Dvar Torah, it's appropriate to wish him a Yasher Koach, which means well done in Hebrew. And then we'll go right into the Haftarah. Okay, slow. Slow. It's a rough day. No, wait for the weary. Slow, loud, clear, enjoy it. You get one shot.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Have you ever really given any thought to the importance of counting? I mean, there's math and all, but I mean the importance of making sure that each person feels that they count as a person. I hadn't thought about any of that until I learned the meaning of my Torah portion. But first, think about it. There are tons of terms using the word count. Clearly, a lot of importance is placed on counting. Or I don't think I would have found literally hundreds of results when I searched it on Google. On account of, count me in, can count fingers on one hand, count on me, count your blessings, and my personal favorite, counting cards. Just kidding, Mom and Dad. This week's Torah portion is Bamidbar. This translates to in the desert. Bamidbar is the fourth of the 5 books of Moses. In a very dry, boring, and sandy nutshell, Bamidbar is a reading that takes place after the Jews departed Mount Sinai on a journey through the desert on the way to the promised land of Israel. Parshat Bamidbar opens with God speaking to Moses, asking him to take account, every male head by head, but to only count men older than 20 and who can bear arms. When I read this portion of the Parsha, I immediately asked myself, why God would only count men who can fight and leave out so many others, including women, kids, old people, disabled people, and those who cannot fight. A lot of people have said this was likely a way to count who could join the army. According to Chabad.org, this counting information assigned by God was also used to keep count of males of military age, as well as to establish the tribal lineage of every Jew. Cantor Rachel Spilker offers a way to analyze the text that may explain how this can be interpreted. She writes, in the text, Moses is told to tally up, Kol Adat B'nai Israel, which literally means the whole community of the children of Israel. Cantor Spilker says that while Adat is often translated as community, it can also refer to an assembly, band, company, or faction. Using this definition, I interpret this to mean that God only meant to count one part of the population, meant for an army. This makes more sense as to why God left out so many other groups from the count. Cantor Spilker also says that it may be risky to take a census, and that the Talmud asserts that it is forbidden to count the nation of Israel, even for the sake of a commandment, because whoever counts Israel transgresses a prohibition. As it is written, the number of the children of Israel shall be like the sands of the sea, not to be measured. According to Rashi, each person should be counted by something they contribute, rather than being counted as a person. I interpret this to mean that God does not want the Jews to be counted, as each one is unique and can offer different things to society. In today's world, society seems obsessed with counting. We count stats and we constantly tally numbers, whether it's sports stats, music stats, income stats, likes on social media, or even how many pairs of Jordans you own. I own 6, but who's counting? People are very focused on counting, often in an effort to place a value on a person. This got me thinking about how unfair this seems, because it gives an impression that one smaller group of people is more important than another larger group of people. For example, it is more popular to know about what the top TikTokers are doing rather than it is to know about what problems affecting our community, such as education and the homeless. Focusing only on the one society seems to count or not count doesn't make sense. Well, for the exception of those who get canceled for good reason. Let's just say that Kanye West's popularity, despite his record-breaking sales stats, at least in terms of the Jews, have dropped considerably. Even though I feel this way, I guess you might call me a hypocrite. Anybody who knows me knows that sports play a big part in my life. Not just playing, but pretty much obsessing over game results. From college, go Bruins, to players in the NBA, go Russell Westbrook, and everything in sports is based on stats and who has the best one. But that doesn't always paint the full picture. For example, Trae Young averages close to 30 points per game, but since he doesn't play defense, his team constantly loses due to the other team outscoring them. At school, I see this as well. Some groups are viewed as more important than others. When younger people see this happening, it teaches them that it's okay to count more popular groups as more important than others. Clearly, people are not using God's playbook on this one. In Bamidbar, one could argue that the number of troops is what really counts, since they are the ones included in the census. But I think we need to look deeper. It's very important to think about everyone and who they are and how they can contribute, and not only focus on those that are officially counted. In the end, whether you are an NBA player, a star student, or an average Joseph, always remember that you count. Thank you. Goodbye.
We're going to go straight to the Haftarah. You can follow along.
Thank yous.
You think you give more thank yous?
Okay. Now, I want to thank everybody from places far and wide. Thank you to Marlene Brostoff for helping me prepare for this bar mitzvah, and to Rabbi Chorny and Rabbi Kligfeld for their guidance and support. Thank you to my aunts, uncles, and cousins for always being there for me. I love you all so much. Sanaya, you are the best big sister anyone could ask for. You always stand up for me. You are the best, and I always love cooking with you. I love you. Rafa, even though sometimes we fight, you are the best brother anyone could ever ask for. You test me in every sport we play together, even though I always beat you. You are the biggest little brother. Thank you so much for always being there for me. Shoshi, you are the cutest. Shoshi, you are the cutest, most adorable. You're the most adorable little girl in the world. You are my slime buddy. I love being at home alone with you and making crazy snacks and watching fun shows. You're the best little sister anyone could ask for. Grandma, you're the most caring, loving, and sweetest person in the world. Every time I come to your house, it's like I'm coming back home. I love going on vacation with you. Thank you for everything you do for my cousins and me. Grandpa, this year you took me on the most incredible trip to Israel. I will never forget the times we had staying in very fancy hotels, even though you often asked me to change rooms everywhere we went. I love you so much. You've taught me to use good judgment, analyze every situation carefully, and show the people in your family how much you love them, always. Saida, even though you are not here with us today, you are always in my heart. I will never forget you singing Spanish songs to me and always being joyful. I love you and I miss you. I miss you. Apita, tú eres la mejor. Tú eres la mejor abuelita del mundo. Me fascina viajar a Miami contigo y estar con Jenny y Lior. Eres tan amorosa, generosa y muy divertida. Y siempre me dejas ver shows inapropiados. I love you. Tania, tú eres mi segunda mamá. Siempre me has cuidado con tanto amor. Siempre me cocinas mi comida favorita y me consientes mucho. También me regañas cuando me porto mal y me enseñas mucho. I love you. Dad, you're the best dad ever. You're my hero. I look up to you every day. You taught me how to do everything, from playing sports to any instrument I play, and to speaking Hebrew. All the music I know is because of you. I love playing tennis with you and solving crazy math problems with you. I love watching UCLA sports with you, and when you come to my games to cheer me on. I want to be you when I grow up. Thank you for helping me become an adult. I love you so much. Mommy, you're the sweetest, funniest, and kindest, and most caring mom in the world. You helped me through this entire process of becoming bar mitzvah, and I'm so thankful for that. You've been working on my bar mitzvah nonstop with no breaks for the past 4 months. I honestly don't know how you do it. You are always happy, and your energy lights up any dark room. You are always there for me, no matter what it is, sports, tests, or me just having a hard day. You're always there to help me cheer up. I love watching our favorite TV shows together, like The Bachelorette and Jewish Matchmaking. I'm so lucky to have you as my mom. I love you so much. Thank you.
Elias. We're going to give Elias one moment to splash a little water on his face. And I'm just going to say for that one quick moment that Elias asked us if he could have a break between his Devar Torah and Haftarah. And we said to him, you know, it's a long morning, we know, but take a breather. We're just going to run right through. But I think we couldn't have possibly known just how big those emotions are that you spoke about that are inside of him. So a family hug and a splash of water on the face. And I'm going to take this moment to say what it is that's going to happen at the end of the Haftarah, because this instruction isn't for Elias, it's for all of us. And he's sweet enough for all of us, and yet we're going to shower him with some sweetness at the end. We have some special helpers who are going to dump some candy all over Elias when he finishes up the blessings after the Haftarah. I'm going to ask everybody, especially the kids who are excited about that, to stay all the way down and seated all the way through the moment of us pouring that candy on his head, okay? All the way seated through. I promise you, we have beyond more than enough candy, even though I haven't counted, okay? So please stay seated all the way through the end of that moment. And then, calmly and respectfully, you can come up and collect a few pieces for each of yourselves. So I'm going to ask that everybody find a seat right now, all the way through the blessings that are going to begin. If you want to follow along with the blessings for the Haftarah, it's on page 175 in Siddur Lev Shalem. The Haftarah itself begins on page 1216 in the Chumash, in the larger of the two red books, page 175 in Siddur Lev Shalem, the Haftarah itself, 1216. This is a special Haftarah for the Shabbat that precedes a day of Rosh Chodesh, the new month.
family. Baruch, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratzeh v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'Torah, u'Moshe avdo, u'Yisrael amo, u'v'nvi'eh ha'emet. V'tzedek. Amen. Vayomer lo Yehonatan machar chodesh v'nivkata ki yipaked moshavecha v'shilashta tered me'od uvata el hamakom asher nistarta sham bayom hama'aseh vayashvata etzel ha'evan hazel v'ani shaloshet hachitim tida'oreh leshalach li lematara v'hinei eshlach et hana'ar lech metzer et chachitzim im amor omar lana'ar hinei chachitzim mimcha v'heina kachonu vavoa ki shalom lecha ve'ein davar Adonai ve'im kol omar le'elem hinei chachitzim mimcha v'ha'ala lech ki shalachacha Adonai ve'hadvar asher dibarnu ani ve'ata hinei Adonai beini uvenecha adolam ve'titer David beseder vaye hachodesh vayeshev hamelech el halechem lechom vayeshev hamelech al moshavo kefam befam el moshav hakir vayakam Yehonatan vayeshev Avner mitzad she'u vayivked makom David velo diber she'u me'umad bayom hahu ki amar mikre hu bilti tehor hu ki lo tahor vayehi mimacharat hachodesh hasheni vayipaked makom David vayomer she'u el Yehonatan beno madua lo ba ben Ishai gam tamo gam hayom el halachem vaya'an Yehonatan et Shaul nis'al David me'iman ad Beit Lachem vayo shalchenu na'a ki zevach mishpacha lanu be'ir ve'hu tzivali achi ve'ata אם מצאתי חן בעיניך, אמרת נא ואמר את אחיך, על כן לא בא אל שולחן המלך, ויחר אף שאוי ביהונתן, ויאמר לו בניו המדוד, הלא ידעתי כי בוחר אתה לבן ישי לוש ותחה ובושת אף רץ עמך כי כל הימים אשר בין ישי חי על האדמה לא תיכון אתה ומלכותך ואתה שלח וקח אותו עלי כי בין מטפו ויען יהונתן את שאול אביו ויאמר אל הלב למה יאמר מעשו ויתל שאול את החנית עליו לכתו וידע יהונתן כי חלה היא מעם אביו להמית אח דוד ויקם יהונתן מעם השולחן בחרב ולא אכלו ביום החודש השני לחם כי נצר אל דוד כי החילומו אביו ויהי בבוקר יצא יהונתן חדשה למועד דוד ונער כרום אומה ויאמר לנערו רוץ מצנע את ההיטים אשר אנוכי מורה הנער רץ והוא יראה החיתי להרבירו ויבוא הנער עד מקום החיתי אשר ירא יהונתן ויקרא יהונתן אחרי הנער ויאמר לו החיתי ממך וחלה ויקרא יהונתן אחרי הנער מראה חושה אל תמות ויתת את הנער יהונתן את החיטים ובוא אל אדוניו הנער לא ידע מאומה אך יהונתן ודוד יעמדו את הדבר ויתן יהונתן את כליו אל הנער אשר לו ויאמר לו לחבי העיר הנער בו דוד קם מאצל הגנה ויפול לפניו ארצה ויסתכו שלו בפעם וישקו איש את רעהו ויכו איש את רעהו עד דוד הגדיל ויאמר יהונתן לדוד לך לשלום אשר נשבענו שנינו אנחנו בשם אדוני לאמור אדוני יהיה ביני וביניך ובין זרעי ובין זרעך עד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל העלומים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת בצדק נאמן, אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ונאמנים דבריך, ודבר אחד מדבריך אחור לא ישוב ריקם, כי אל מלך נאמן ורחמן. אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו, רחם על ציון כי היא בית חיינו, ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני משמך ציון בבניך, שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך. במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו, על כיסו לא ישב זר, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדוש ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על החול אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדוש השבת.
You can be seated and put away the larger of those two red books.
Yes. Well said.
We'll quietly be seated. Put away the larger of the two books and open up our smaller Siddur, Lev Shalem. We turn to page 176 in Lev Shalem.
148 or 1412 in other Sidurim.
Yikum Porkan min Shemayim.
Yikum Porkan min Shemayim.
Vishlach berachav
We rise and we say a prayer for our country, for the state of Israel, and for peace.
Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessings upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land.
Adonai, God whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit will be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land.
May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell upon earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
Prayer for the state of Israel, top of page 178 in the Lev Shalem.
תפילה לשלום מדינת ישראל, אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, שתהיה ראשית צמיחתה גאולתנו, הגן עליה בעברת חסדך, ופרש עליה סוכת שלומך, ושלח אורך ויעמידך לראשיה, שעריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך, חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה, ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם, ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר אמן.
Prayer for peace, middle of page 178. Felicia and Guy.
Okay.
May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world.
The nation will not threaten nation, the human family will not again know war.
For all who live on earth shall realize we have not come into being to hate or to destroy. We have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love.
Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion.
Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you.
I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war.
Let justice and righteousness flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing as we anticipate and bless the new Hebrew month, page 180 in the Sim Shalom, and the Lev Shalem, 150 or 418 in the other Sidurim.
יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהי אבותינו, שתחדש עלינו את החודש הבא לטובה ולברכה, ותיתן לנו חיים ארוכים, חיים של שלום, חיים של טובה, חיים של מרחה, חיים של פרנסה, חיים של חילוץ עצמות, חיים של ישבה יראת שמי ליראת חית, חיים שאין בהם מושב ממה, חיים של אושר וכבוד, חיים שציוונו אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה, אמן סלע. מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו לגאל אותם מהטוט לחירות, יגאל אותנו בקרוב, נקבץ נדחינו מארבע כנפות הארץ.
חברים כל ישראל, חברים כל ישראל, חברים כל ישראל, ונאמר אמן. חברים כל ישראל.
ראש חודש סיוון יהיה ביום ראשון, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה.
ראש חודש סיוון יהיה ביום הראשון, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה. The Hebrew month of Sivan will begin tonight and continue tomorrow. May come to us and all the people of Israel only for good.
הקדוש ברוך הוא עלינו ועל כל עמו בית ישראל לחיים ולשלום, לששון ושמחה, לישועה ונחמה ונאמר
אמן. Ashrei, page 181, or page 151, or 420.
Can I start? Ashrei. Ashrei Yoshvei V'techa, Od Yahalu Chasala. Tehila LeDavid, Armim Chalachai HaMelech, Baruch Shimcha Leolam Va'ed.
Becho Yamav Archeka, Bala Shimcha Leolam Va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Umhulal Me'or, V'liturato En Cheker.
Dor Yishvach Ma'asecha, Murotecha Yagidu.
Hadar Kevod Hodecha, V'divred Nefliotecha Asicha.
V'zuzortecha Yomeru, Dulacha Savrena.
Seker Avducha Yabi'u, V'sikatecha Yeranenu.
Chanun Rachum Adonai, Erech Apayim Udol Chesed.
Tovar Lalakol, V'rachamav Akol, Matzav.
Yoducha Adonai Kol Ma'asecha, V'chasidecha Yivachucha.
Kol Kevod Machutocha Yomeru, Ugvatecha Yadaberu.
L'hodil Ne'elam Murotav, V'vodatav Malchuto.
Machutecha Malchut Kol Olamim, U'mashotecha B'chol Dor V'dor.
Somech Adonai l'chol hanoflim, V'zokech l'chol hakufim.
Enekho Elecha Yesaberu, V'ata Noten Lahem Et Ochlan Be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, Masbir l'chol chai ratzon.
Sadik Adonai B'chol Derchav, Fachsid B'chol Matzav.
Karov Adonai l'chol korav, l'chol asher yigru v'emet.
Ratzon Yera'av Yetzer, Ve'et Shavatam Yishma V'yoshiyim.
Shomer Adonai ekol haba, v'ekol eshayim yashmin.
Tehila Adonai Yedeber Pi, V'yireh Kol Bas Hashem Kacho, Le'olam Va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech ya, mi'ata v'yad olam, hallelujah. Please rise. Shkoach Rafa.
Stay here. Hallelujah, et Shem Adonai, Ki nizkav Shemo levado.
Hodo al eretz.
Et Chaim Chi Lama Chazikim Ba V'Tov V'Recha V'Ushar Terafeha Tarcheinu Am B'chol Netivoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha B'Teshuva Chadish Chadish Yameinu Chadish Yameinu Kekedev. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Elias and I have something in common. The first words of Torah we ever read from the Torah were from Parshat Bamidbar. My bar mitzvah was this parsha, a couple years ago. And in my shul in Connecticut, they divided the triennial reading somewhat differently. So the Mafkir Aliyah
that Elias read was the last few verses of the 7th Aliyah that he read. In my shul in Connecticut, the Maftir, the last Aliyah that the Bar Mitzvah boy read, were the last few verses of the entire Parsha, which wasn't read in its entirety that morning. And when I was training for my Bar Mitzvah all those years ago, that's what I started with, because I knew I was going to read the Maftir and then pull backwards to read as much as possible, not nearly as much as Elias did this morning. Which means that the first words of Torah that I ever learned to chant were the last few verses of Parshat Bamidbar. And it's sort of strange to say, but also wonderful, because we're always learning in life. I don't think I ever understood those verses until this week. The first verses I ever read, I knew a little bit of Hebrew at the time, so I had a basic sense, but I don't think I really understood the impact of those words and what they mean in Jewish life and Jewish expression until I came back to them this week when I was studying the Parsha. The Parsha ends as it begins to tell the instructions of the sons of Levi that were divided into several groups and the responsibility they had to transport the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary, from place to place as the Israelites wandered through the desert. And it may sound obvious to say, not only were they responsible for reconstructing that building, that sanctuary, every place they went, and traveling with it in between, they were also responsible for deconstructing it. If you're going to build something that's movable, you have to unbuild it first, every single time. Which means that these children of priests, who were the functionaries of the spiritual life of ancient Israel, had the job of packing and unpacking, building and breaking down. And the Torah says something very severe, specifically about the breaking down part, the unpacking part. The Torah says, Al tachritu et shevet mishpachat hakati. Let not the Kohatites, as one of the sub-tribes of Levi, let them not be destroyed. Mitoch haleviim, from the rest of their tribe. Why would they be destroyed? Zot asu lahem, do this for them. V'chayu v'lo yamutu, so that they will live and not die. Begishtam et kodesh hakodashim, when they come close to the Holy of Holies in order to start breaking it down to prepare it for transport. Aharon v'anav yavou, Aaron and his sons will come. V'samu otam ish el vodato v'el masa'o, and place each of those people in the positions that they have been assigned in this job of breaking down the Mishkan. V'lo yavou lirot kivala et hakodesh v'metu. They should not watch while the ark is uncovered and broken down to be packed up, for if they do, they will die. Now the Torah is filled with punishments that seem more severe for the transgression than we would think in the modern sense of society. But this is pretty brutal. They are tasked with the responsibility of transporting this holy object, this holy room, this holy appurtenances to the Mishkan. And they can't even look when the parochet is taken off the Aron HaKodesh and when the Holy of Holies is exposed, and if they do, they will die. There are two main thrusts of opinion in the Midrashic and the medieval commentaries as to why. One of them is it's too hot. It's too nuclear. You're not allowed to look into the face of God, and this is where the face of God is most present in the world. So almost, think Raiders of the Lost Ark, you have to avert your eyes because there's something too intense about the spiritual capacity of that object. And if they look at it, they will die because it'll be too much. I prefer the second interpretation, offered by several people, including the Ibn Ezra, who was a great Spanish medieval grammarian and commentary. He says the problem is not that it's too sacred for them. It's that if they watch the sacred in the act of being broken down into the mundane, it will lose its sanctity. And they'll start looking at the tabernacle as a prop, something they have to do as part of their daily obligations, rather than this fully constructed home for God. The tabernacle does have to be transported, but it has to be done somehow preserving the sanctity of it so that the people's reverence for it will not be diminished. I want you to know that I never really thought about that as I read those verses before, and on some level as I understand it, because as a rabbi and as a functionary in the synagogue, on the one hand, I'm involved with the Sefer Torah for its most sacred purposes, when it's brought out with great fanfare and read with love and reverence. And sometimes I'm transporting it from room to room. And sometimes I go into the sanctuary, Rabbi Chorny goes in the sanctuary the day before to make sure it's rolled to the right place. And we open the ark, and we don't sing Vayibin So'aron, and we take it out on the table, and we're not saying any blessings, and we're checking, and we're rolling it. And in those moments, not because we wanted to, but because this is human nature, it's possible for the holiest object in our tradition to become something much less, momentarily. I know and I get that when families are coming to celebrate their bar mitzvah and they come for rehearsal and they took pictures and the pictures are lovely and I'm so happy I have pictures from my bar mitzvah and I'm so happy that all of you will have pictures from your kids' b'nai mitzvah. And sometimes when the Torah comes out of the ark for a photo op, it makes me a little sad that the object which is supposed to be the focus of so much sanctified attention is sometimes, quote unquote, just the thing that's held in a picture which we're going to be glad to have afterwards. But is there some diminution of the sanctity when we allow ourselves to be so casual with it? That's Ibn Ezra's concern on this verse. What's fascinating is, and I learned this from a colleague, Rabbi Aviva Richman, who is a rabbi at the Hadar Institute in New York, that this law changed throughout Israelite history. This was the law in the desert when the Mishkan was new and when they were just beginning to figure out how to relate to the sanctified things in the world. But according to the following source in the Talmud, once the temple stood permanently in Jerusalem and it had become for centuries a regular part of Israelite practice and Israelite worship, the relationship between the most sanctified part of the temple and the Israelites, the Jews at the time, changed. Amar Rav Katina, Rabbi Katina said, this is in Masechet Yoma, the tractate of Talmud dealing mostly with Yom Kippurim. B'sha'ah shayu Yisrael olin l'regel, when Israelites would come and make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, specifically for the three yontifs, megalalin lahem et haparochet, they would come into the holiest holies and the Kohanim would pull back the curtain and allow them to see the very thing that even the Kohen's children were allowed to see in the desert. Umarin lahem et hakruvim, they would show them the cherubs, those kruvim, those cherubs that were on top of the ark, that would flank the doors to the ark, shehayum orin zebazeh, that they were kind of next to one another and illuminating one another. The omrim lahem, and the Israelites, the Jews, would say to them, Ra'u chibadchem lifnei makom, kechibat zachar nekiba. Look at these cherubs, these inanimate beings, angel-like structures flanking the ark. Behold chibadchem, how much you love in front of the Holy One, kechibat zachar nekiba, like the love between a man and a woman. It's an entirely different message. In the desert was the message, don't get too close. Because if you get too close, it will no longer nearly be as special. There's some distance required in things of sanctity. And once the temple stood in Jerusalem, it was the opposite. You've come to pay a visit to the temple of Jerusalem? Come as close in as you can, even up to the point where the cherubs are expressing love for each other, and inanimate love, in front of God. How wonderful that you can see how everything works in the Mishkan. It went from a concern lest by seeing how the sausage is made, as it were, you no longer want to eat the meal, to inviting people to come in as close as possible so they could be intimate with the most important aspect of Jewish expression and prayer. According to Rabbi Richman, this has to do with what happens when relationship and love matures. In the beginning, whether your relationship is with something sacred or one another, there is coyness, there is flirtation, There's a sense that not everything is exposed to one another, because if you expose everything to one another, then there's nothing hidden, there's no mystery, some of the spark is gone. And at some point, after years and decades of love and marriage and relationship with a synagogue, you see everything. Nothing is hidden. On some level, that's extraordinary, that you can get that close to a person and get that close to an idea. And on some level, something is missing. Something dies a little bit at that stage and therefore needs a certain amount of the original approach in order for the beauty and the specialness to be reawakened. When I gave the title for this Dvar Torah in the email that went out, I was speaking about the Mishkan and also speaking about the synagogue in Skopje, North Macedonia, where 38 members of our community were, not for Shabbat, but about 2 weeks ago as we were on our shul trip to the Balkans. We had a phenomenal 12-day trip to Bulgaria, northern Greece, and the country of North Macedonia, one of the 7 countries that was once Yugoslavia. It was a fascinating learning experience. It was a lot of fun, too, because it was a vacation on the road, but also a tremendous trip learning new things about Balkan Jewish life and their experience in the Shoah and the Holocaust, things that, frankly, even educated Jews who grew up in an Ashkenazi world focusing on Russia, Poland, and Ukraine know very little about when it comes to their experience in the Shoah, and I put myself in that category. I studied essentially Holocaust history throughout most of college, and I knew nothing of these stories. The Jews of North Macedonia, at the time it was simply called Macedonia, were almost entirely exterminated during the Shoah. The remnants were very, very few. Many, many, many more Jews, first of all, started out living in Poland, Russia, and Ukraine, and in Holland than before, than in Macedonia, but in a significantly higher percentage of the Jews that ever lived in those cities, in Skopje, in Bitola, and in several other cities. Very few of them survived because of the way in which the Shoah took place in that part of the world. Skopje, which is now the capital of North Macedonia, was never a Warsaw, it was never a New York, it was never a Moscow when it comes to Jewish life. But it was not a nothing either. There were several shuls, there were newspapers, there were theater troupes, there was a vibrant, pulsing Jewish life that in 1939 no one could have imagined was going anywhere. After the war, there was almost nothing. There was much more in Poland after the war than in Macedonia. And the last couple of decades, the few Jews that have sort of either known they were Jewish this entire time or have come to realize it because a grandmother on her deathbed told a grandchild, by the way, I held this from you for all these years because I didn't know what it was going to be like to be Jewish in this part of the world. You're Jewish. There's been a slight reawakening, and there is now, in addition to a fabulous Holocaust museum commemorating the story of the Balkan Jews and the Macedonian Jewish experience in the Shoah, there is a small shul in Skopje. It's in a nondescript apartment block, in a nondescript neighborhood, on the second floor of a random building. They've put together space to sort of look like a sanctuary. So emotional was to see their parochet. Their parochet, the thing covering their Arona Kodesh, was the last kind of sanctuary object that was dedicated in the Skopje Jewish community before the decimation. Some family had a wedding or an anniversary or something, because you could see written on the parochet. And as a way of celebrating this particular simcha in the family, they dedicated a new parochet for the shul. I forgot the exact date, something, 1941. They had no idea, of course, that they were rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, as it were. They were dedicating new sacred objects for a Jewish community they figured will always be there. Somehow that object remained and is now gracing the ark in this makeshift new and renewed Jewish community in Skopje. They count about 200 members of their community, of whom about 60 are Jewish, because nearly all the people who are Jewish in that community are married to those who are not Jewish, and the numbers of people who kind of consider themselves to be part of the extended community are kind of friends and neighbors who want to support the notion of a renewed Jewish community. There are only about 60 or 65 Jews left in the city. We were hosted by two of the board members of the Skopje Jewish community. What was fascinating to watch in them is that we felt more comfortable in their sanctuary than they did. They're so new to this. To them, to walk into a sanctuary is a mighty, mighty thing, because for decades there wasn't any. When we sang Oseh Shalom B'Mamav, for us it was a ditty. They wept to hear Hebrew songs being sung by Jews in the city again. They are, on some level, living like the generation of the Israelites in the desert. They're not comfortable peeking in too close. This is all new and raw and tender and delicate and so very holy. There's no moment of Jewish life that takes place in Skopje without a tremendous amount of input and investment. And so every one of those moments is pregnant with tremendous sacred meaning. We, and I have no romantic image of trading places with them, but we live such a Jewish life in Los Angeles that is so free, so open, so rich, so easy on some level, that too many of our moments we take for granted. Too many of our moments we're at the era that we talked about in the Talmud, where you're coming to visit, come on in, see everything, nothing is blocked from you. We have gained so much. I'd rather be a Jew, and almost every Jew would rather be a Jew in Los Angeles, Temple Beth Am, than in the reborn Jewish community of Skopje. But I wonder what of their innocence and their sense of awe and their sense that this all could go away and this sense of preciousness we should import to our spiritual lives. We should import to our dealings with the synagogue, with the sanctuary, with the bima, and with the Torah. And what does it take to go back in time in relationship with a loved one, whether a loved one is a spouse or a friend or a shul or a God or a Torah, and approach it with the full sense of how rare, how delicate, and how precious it all really is. Shabbat Shalom. There's no need to applaud. We continue with the Musaf Amidah. Elias, as if he hasn't done enough already this morning, is going to come to the bima, lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish and in the Amidah for Musaf. Please rise. Chatzi Kaddish is 184 to Lev Shalem, 155 Slim Shalom, 428 Sim Shalom.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה בעמד יברק ירתה וימליך מלכותה בחיי כל יומך ושרי בכל ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה
בריחו
לאלה מכל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירת בעלמה. Amen. We'll do the Musaf Amidah as a Hecha Kedusha. What that means is that Elias will begin the blessings on 185, or in the other Sidurim 156, 430. We'll say the Kedusha responsibly on page 187, and then go back and say the Amidah ourselves in a quiet whisper.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'Imahot Govel Livnei B'nei B'neihem L'Ma'al Shemot Melech Ozer U'Mashiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Elokei Sarah. Atagi Bula Lamanai, Mechaye, Metima Tarav, Moshiach. Mechaye Keim Bechesed,
Mechaye Beitim Berachamim Rabbi, Somech Nochlim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayen Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gemura, Umido Melech, Melech Memid, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua.
Vena'amanatet v'chayot miti. Baruch atah Adonai v'chayei hamet.
Amen. Aris konagish ezos yezar begoret madishin shechava goret kedoy yadim yech v'karazeh.
Na'aritzecha v'na'apishecha
Kadosh, Kadosh, Adonai, the Lord, the Lord, Sharda, Shoralim, Zevalim, Conquer Meru.
Kevodo, no, Maleolam, Mesher, Tartam, Joali, Mazet.
Racham yachad yachadim shmer v'kol yom tamid taman be'al Hashem.
Mimkomo
huyihen
Vador,
We continue with Kaddish Shalem. Amen.
Yitavach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei L'Kudishah Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'alma v'yimru Amen. Titkala Tetoleton utechon decho Yisrael kadamo v'hon di b'shamaya v'yimru
Amen.
Yesh lama rava min kol shemaya v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru
Amen.
Oseh shalom yimramav huyaseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru
Amen. You be seated for Ein Keloheinu. Page 204, 182, or 508.
Cousins are joining. Cousins, primos. Page 204.
Please rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabbat Adonai l'kol v'ateinu la'oseh reshit shelo asanu ha'atzot le'lo samanu mishpachot ha'adama shelo samnagenu kahem ve'nor aleinu kevona ve'anachnu horim u'mishpachat mimumotim lifnei melech malkei hamachim la'alos baruchu she'emunot hashamayim ve'oseh haaretz
Moshe v'karo b'shamayim imah u'shninatu zo b'gavei meromim Hu Eloheinu Eino Malkeinu efes u'latov kakatu
v'ne'eman.
All those who are mourning or observing yard site, please remain standing for Mourner's Kaddish. We found on page 207, 184, and 512. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba v'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba m'vorach le'olam le'omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitfa'ar v'yitshomam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'richu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom u'ramav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Elias.
What a morning. Hey, you can come up here. First, in case you have any strange thoughts about it, and you shouldn't, I want to applaud you for your show of emotion this morning. Because to be able to be so present with what you feel and to be willing to express it with pride and not with shame is a human gift, not anything that takes away from who you are. And I actually remember seeing that even in our meetings. I remember the meeting about a year ago where you started talking about your bar mitzvah, the three of us, you and your parents.
That was a year ago?
About a year ago, yeah. Every few seconds there was hugging and kissing and crying and emoting. You were also present as you were imagining your taking the step in life, and I was really taken by it. This is a family that not only loves each other, but loves expressing how they love each other, and that as a young Jewish man, rather than being embarrassed by that, which is there's no reason to be, you're totally comfortable in that. And I think that's a really lovely thing. And it showed all of us that you are not up here, quote unquote, just doing a task or fulfilling a responsibility, but stepping into a really significant moment in your life, and you were aware of that. And that was beautiful to watch. And that on some level was even more meaningful to me, not that we have to rank things, than the volume of what you did. Right? Reading all the Torah this morning and the Haftarah and your Dvar Torah, which was filled with substance and humor and learning, and then the Haftarah, and then leading the Musaf service as well. So all that is really wonderful to watch. When I was reading through your Dvar Torah, I was really taken by your dealing with counting and that word. Because you were playing with the English word count, which is really interesting because there are so many midrashim and commentaries on the Hebrew version of that word as well. The Hebrew version of that word is nasa, literally to hold something up, but that's the verb. Se'u et rosh kol adat b'Yisrael, to count the heads of the Israelites. There's a Hasidic commentator called the Chirushei Harim, one of the rabbis of the Ger Hasidic dynasty outside Warsaw, who says, why was it so significant for God to count the Israelites? Does God not know how many Israelites there are? Why give him a number? Why is the number so important? And he answers by taking something from the halachic world. In the halachic world, sometimes when you have a certain amount of something that is either unkosher, not kosher for Pesach, or shouldn't be, if it is less than 1/60th of the amount of the proper thing, it gets nullified, it gets batel, right? So if a tiny, tiny amount of milk gets accidentally mixed into a large amount of meat, as long as the amount of milk is less than a 60th, then it gets nullified, you don't have to throw the mixture out. But there's a concept in halakha that davar shebiminyan, something which has a number attached to it, afilu ba'elef lo batel. Even if it's mixed in with things that are 1,000 more than that, it never gets nullified, because once something has a number, it endures, it's real, and it's going to be here for a long time. And he says, God wanted the Israelites not just to be in that category of there are a lot of them, but he wants to give them an exact number. Because if there are an exact number of Israelites, then somehow God and the world will know how many there are, and they will never depart from the world because something that has a number stays. I was thinking about that not only in terms of your Dvar Torah, but in terms of what your task is ahead of you. Because Elias, you're done with preparing for your bar mitzvah. And your task at being a productive Jewish member of society is just beginning. You no longer have homework assignments to learn the next verse of the Haftarah, although if you want to come back and read Torah and Haftarah anytime, you know, in Bulgaria this means yes, just so you know. However many verses and parashot you read in the future, you have a task of start creating a number of mitzvot that you do and contribute to the spiritual presence in the world. Right? We don't want to leave your Jewish future as a vagueness. Oh, I'm sure Elias is going to do stuff. You start thinking about the new mitzvot in your life that you haven't yet taken on that you want to try. The number of ways in which you do good for people in your family and people beyond your family. You're so good at listening to other people and to taking in their reality. We need to see a growing number of the ways in which Elias is stepping forward from this bar mitzvah, focusing on the mitzvah, right? Because that's what this is all about. And I can't wait to see that number grow, because the number is going to be like the opening lines of the Haftarah that you didn't read because of Machar Chodesh, greater than the number of stars in the sky and grains of sand on the earth. Elias, you really are a bar mitzvah. You're a person who lives your life with a sense of obligation and devotion to the Jewish people. And once that number begins to grow, the number of mitzvot that you have in your hand, that people see that you are committed to, that's going to endure, that's going to last, and that's going to make the world more beautiful, as you already do. So Mazel Tov to you, Elias. You deserve to enjoy every sense of joy that you have today. Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. It's now my honor to call to the Bima the president of Temple Beth Am, Mark Samuel, for some words and some gifts.
Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
So I woke up this morning and I was really excited. I just was excited to be here celebrating your bar mitzvah. My family has been close with your family since, like, I'd say the ECC, and as president, it just gives me so much joy to actually come here and be here and celebrate. This is one of the perks of the job, to celebrate and watch you become a bar mitzvah. You rocked it today. You did a great job. I love how seriously you took every moment of the service, from your Devar Torah, reading Torah. I loved your parents' smiles and the emotions that flooded this room throughout. You just did a terrific job. So we're also incredibly proud of you. So Mazal Tov. In the bag, we have your official bar mitzvah certificate. So this is it. It's what you worked for. On the back, we have a free year of teen membership for your 8th grade year becoming a bar mitzvah. We have a Tanakh from the Sisterhood, a book called Israel Matters from the Jewish Federation. We have a Kaddish cup from the Men's Society. And we have socks to match your 6 pairs of Jordans from the Jewish Teen Initiative. Mazal Tov, we're so excited for you. You did a great job. Wonderful.
And we conclude with Adon Olam. Adon Olam can be found on page 211, 187, or 514. Elias, you and friends are leading Adon Olam, correct? Come on up. Adon Olam ve'acharei kichlotako levado yimlach mera Adon Olam ve'hu haya ve'hu over ve'hu
Yosi b'yom ekra Adon Olam Adon Olam Asher Malav V'terbo Tzira Le'nasa V'chesakol Azan Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam Be'ado Afkid Ruchi B'tishan Be'ahira Adon Olam Be'im Ruchi Gebiati Adonai Li Be'Elohira Adon Olam. Please rise for Kiddush. A quick announcement that tonight Mincha is at 7:05 p.m. learning with our intern, whom we can now call Rabbi Sheva Lerman, who was ordained last week by HUC. And then tomorrow morning, if you're coming for a morning minyan, usually it's at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. It's at 9 tomorrow as we celebrate Mabel becoming a bat mitzvah, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. All those who come to minyan, of course, can stay for the lovely Kiddush afterwards. Please rise for Kiddush now. B'shem v'nesel Shabbat, l'asna Shabbat l'dor tam berito lam beini uveim v'nesel tili lam ki sheishim imas Adonai v'tzmav d'aretz u'v'yom ha'shvi Shabbat v'nafash. Zachor Shom Shabbat l'kadosho sheishim tevod v'asita kol ha'tech v'yom ha'shvi Shabbat l'melech l'atesek ha'macha atav v'chavitecha avdecha malchov v'techa b'kach Hashem v'sharecha ki sheishim imas Adonai v'tzmav d'aretz et yam kol asher ba'am v'yanach v'yom ha'shvi al-kein be'rach Adonai Shom Shabbat v'kadoshehu sari maranan Rabbanan Rabbatai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei pri hagafen. Guys, step away now. Thank you. Elias is going to do Netilat Yadayim. Guys, go back to your seats. Thanks. And then lead us in Hamotzi. Amen. Hold it together. Turn the microphone.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Take it easy. That's all you're going to have. Shabbat shalom, everyone.